Join me in learning Chitas for the 5th day of Parshas Toldos, Thursday, Parshas Toldos, chapter 26, verse 30. Yesterday we learned about as Fichol. Avimelech came with his some friends and Fichol to make peace with Yitzchak while he was living in Beersheba. So Yitzchak, Vayasla Mishta Vayichlo Vayishtu. So Yitzchak agreed to their proposal and prepared a beautiful feast, and they ate and they drank. Verse 31, Vayashkimu Maboiker, they got up early in the morning, Vayishvavu Ishla Achiv, and they made a oath one to another, man to his brother, Vayishalchem Yitzchak, and Yitzchak sent them on their way, Vayelchom Eite B'Shalom, and they departed from him in peace. Vayhi Bayomahu, verse 32, and it was that day, Vayavoyu after Yitzchak, and the servants of Yitzchak came, Vayigidulay, and they told him, Alidei Sabeir, about the well that they have the Asher Chafaru that they dug. And they told them, Matzonu Moyim, we finally found some water. Verse 33. Vayikra Isa Shiva, and he named that well Shiva, from the word Shvua, like an oath. Al Kain Shema Ir, therefore the name of the city is Shebe'er Sheva Ad Hayom Hazeh, the well of an oath, and it is that name until this very day. Shiva, Rashi tells us, it doesn't come from the number 7, but al Shema Bris, but on the name of an oath that they made at that place. Verse 34. This is in the year now 2148. Esav is now 40 years old. Vahi Esav ben Arbaim Shana, Esav is 40 years old. Vayikach Ishes Yehudis Bes Be'edi Hachiti. And he then marries Judith, the daughter of Be'eri, the Hittite. There's Basmas, and he also marries then Basmas, Bas Elon Hachiti, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. You'll notice that he's 40 years old. Who else got married at 40 years old? Which was Yitzchak. And Rashi explains as follows. Ben Arboim Shana, why did Esav decide to get married at 40 years old? Esav Haya Nimshul Lachazer. Esav is like a pig who made as if he was kosher. He made as if he was a good guy. Shnemer, as it says, that why does the pig take the vine? Because it's like the Amalek, who acts like a chazir, like a pig, and so too is the way of Esav. HaChazir hazeh, this pig, kishu shechev, when he lies down, poishet tlafav, he sticks out his hooves, he sticks out his feet. V'loimer, to say, oh, look, shani tahir, I am kosher, because look, I have split hooves. But the problem is he doesn't chew his cuds. Kach elalu Esav, so too these were the generals of Esav, and for generations his children, goys, the chaimsim, they would rob and thieve from everybody. Umarim atzmam kshedim, and they said, oh, we're the greatest people around. So too Esav. Kol arbaim shana Esav tzad nashim. Throughout the 40 years, Esav was chasing after other women. Mitachas balein, and take them away from their husbands. Uma'ana isam, and hurt them. Kishahaya ben memshana, but when he was 40 years old, Amar, he said, Abba ben memshana nasaisha afani came. That means first till he was 40, he would take women, rape them, steal them, hurt them, and everything else. But once he became 40, he says, oh, my father was 40 years old. I'm also going to get married when I'm 40 years old. Verse 35. They were spiritually rebellious towards Yitzchak and Rivka, the Yitzchak or Rivka for Yitzchak and Rivka, and caused them great anguish. Rashi 35. The word moira comes from Lashon Amroas Ruach, going against their will, causing them anguish. Like the word mamrim that Moshe tells the Jewish people, you were rebels. Shekol Masein, that all the actions of the wives of Esav hayalach Yisrael litzavein, they were to anger and to the lack of satisfaction and to the anguish of Yitzchak and Rivka, that they would have pain from it, shayu oivdes avodah zarah, because they served idolatry. The Torah now continues in verse 35. Chapter 27, verse 1. We come now, after it tells us about that the wives of Esav served idolatry. The Torah tells us about Yitzchak getting up in age. This was 23 years after Esav got married, in the year 2171, where the Torah tells us about Yitzchak getting older in age. Vayhi ki Yitzchak and Yitzchak. And it was when Yitzchak was getting older, has grown old. Vatichena ein of mirois, and has dimmed his eyesight from seeing. Vayikras Esav b'nei Agadol, and he called his son, the older son, Vayomer Lev, and he told him, B'ni, my son, Vayomer Lev hineni, he said, here I am. Rashi, Vatichena, verse 1. Why does it tell us right after about this, the wives of Esav, that they were rebellious, and telling us about Yitzchak's blindness? Because of the incense that the wives of Esav would bring to their idolatry, that they would bring smoke, they would bring incense to their idolatry. Therefore, because of that, he became blind. Another explanation of why he was blind, when he was bound on the Mizbeach, on the altar, and his father wanted to slaughter him. At that moment, the heavens opened. The Yerog Malachi Ashadis, and the angels saw what was going on. And they were crying. The Yordu Dimesein, and their tears came down. V'naflu al einav, and fell on his eyes, and because of that, he was not able to see. Lefichach ko einav, because of that, when he got older, his eyes dimmed, and they were not able to see well. Davar acher, another reason why he was not able to see, Yitel Yaakov Sabrachas, that Yaakov should be able to get the blessings and not Esav, and that would only happen if Yitzchak's eyes were dimmed, because as we read earlier, Yitzchak loved Esav while Rivka loved Yaakov. We see over here something interesting. If God wanted that Yitzchak should give the blessings to Yaakov, why did he just not tell Yitzchak that Esav was a bad guy? And over here we see how the Torah did not want to even speak evil against Esav, say Lashon Hara about Esav, that God made it in a way that Yitzchak's eyes should dim so he shouldn't see the evil in Esav, and how we have to be careful as well not to speak evil of others. Verse 2. Yomer, and he said, Hine nazakanti, behold, I am getting old. Lo yadaitu yemoisi, I do not know the day of my death. Rashi, lo yadaitu yemoisi. Yitzchak was worried that maybe the time of his passing has come already. Why? Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha says, from here we learn a very important thing. If a person comes to the time of the years of the age of his parents, Yid'ag, he should be concerned that maybe this is time that he will pass as well. How long does he have to be concerned about? 5 lefneim, 5 years before, v'chamishanim lacher, and 5 years after. Okay, because we see over here, Yitzchak Haya ben Kufchav Gimel, Yitzchak at the time was 123, because we can see at the era that he was 60 when they were born, 40 when they got married, and at this point he was 123 years, so it's 63 years later, after they were born. So therefore Yitzchak was concerned, Shema leperek imi ani magia. Maybe I'm coming to the age of when my mother passed away, which was 127. And she died when she was 27. Vareini ben chameshanim samach lebirka, and I'm now 123, so I am 5 years close to that age. Therefore it says, I don't know if the genetics, if it's going to be me, then when am I going to die around this time as well? Shema leperek meis imi, shema leperek abba. Am I going to die around the age of my mother, or am I going to die around the age of my father? And therefore he was already concerned about his passing at this time. Verse 3, V'ata now. Sana chelecha telyecha v'kashtecha. Please sharpen your weapons, your sword and your bow. V'tzei asada, and go out to the field. V'tzuda litzoyed, and bring me and trap for me some game. Rashi, sana loshin hashchaza, from the word of sharpening. Ka'isa sheshaninu, like it says in the tractate of Beah. Ein mashchizin as a sakin, we don't sharpen the knife on Yom Tif. Aval masiya al gabi chaverta, one can carry one on the other. As it says, chadeid sakincha, sharpen your knife, ushchoit yafa, and slaughter properly. Shalei tacheleinin devela. He was telling him to sharpen his knife, so this way it should not have any blemishes, and he should be able to give him a proper kosher slaughtered meat, and it should not be considered a nevela, which is a dead piece of meat which was not slaughtered appropriately. V'tzudali, and trap some game for me. Where are you going to get it from? Mina hefker v'loy mina gezel. When you're going to trap it, you're going to take it from something which is hefker, belongs to no one, not something that you stole from someone. Verse 4. V'asei matamim, and prepare for me some delicacies. Kasher ahafti, like I like. Like to my liking. You'll bring it to me, and I will eat it. So I will be able to give you a blessing. So that my soul can give you a blessing, my soul's blessing, B'terem almost before I die. Verse 5, Rivka shemas. Rivka is listening what's going on. B'daber Yitzchak al Esav b'noi, while Yitzchak is talking to Esav, his son. Vayelech Esav hasada, Esav went into the field. Lotzu tzayid lahavi, to go trap some game and bring it home to his father. Rashi, verse 5, Lotzu tzayid lahavi, mahu lahavi. Why did Rashi have to add the words to bring it home? Of course, if he's going to trap the game that his father asked him, then he's going to bring it. She'im lo yimtza tzayid, because if he's not going to find something that doesn't belong to no one from Hefker, what's he going to do? Yavim and Agezel will steal it. Verse 6. The Rivka Amr al Yaakov ben Asa, Rivka tells Yaakov her son, Lamer saying, Hine shemaiti esavicha medaber, behold, I heard your father just speaking. V'medaber al Esav, who is he talking to? He was talking to Esav, Achicha, your brother, Lamer saying. Verse 7. Havia li tzayid v'aseh li metamim. Bring me some game and prepare for me some delicacies. V'achela, and I will eat it. V'averech echal lifnei Hashem, and I will bless you before God, in God's presence, lifnei moisi, before I die. What does it mean, lifnei Hashem, before Hashem? It's always before Hashem. Over here it means b'rshusay, in the permission with God. Sheyaskim al yodei, that God will agree that I should give him a blessing. Verse 8. V'ata, so now my son, b'ni, my son, shma b'koyle, listen to what I have to say. Listen, heed my words. So what I command you. Verse 9, Lechna latzoin, go to the sheep, go to the flock, v'kachli, and bring for me, misham, from there, shnei gedayizim, 2 choice goats, v'esais matamim, and I will make them into delicacies, la'avicha, to your father, kasher ohev, like he likes, like your father will like. V'kachli, why does he say, take from me? So she explains, Mishalihim, they're mine. Ve'inam gazel, so I'm not stealing them from your father. Shekach kasav la Yitzchak, because Yitzchak, when he wrote a marriage document, a ketubah, for Rivka, he told her, Litel shtei gedayizim b'chol yom. She had permission to take 2 goats every single day. Shnei gedayizim, v'chi shnei gedayizim ha'yacholi shel Yitzchak. Did Yitzchak need 2 goats? He was one person. He has to eat 2 goats. So Rashi explains, Ella Pesachaya. That day was Pesach. One of the animals, one of the goats was for the Paschal offering. The echad, and the second one she cooked to asa matamim, and she made it into delicacies. So it's explained in Pirkei the Rebbe Lazar. Kasher ohev, like to his liking, meaning ketam hagi, hagadi ketam hatzvi. I'm going to make it, because if he told him that he was going to trap, usually when you trap, it's deer. So Rivka tells Yaakov, you bring me these types of goats, I'm going to make the goat taste so good, it'll taste like deer that Esav was going to get. Verse 10, and you will bring them to your father. The achal, and he's going to eat it, that he should be able to bless you before he dies. Verse 11, so Yaakov tells Rivka, his mother, Hein Esav achi Yisrael. The problem is, but my brother Esav is a hairy man. While I'm smooth-skinned. And he will be able to notice the difference. Ish Soyer, Rashi explains, verse 11, Bal Seyar, full of hair. Verse 12, Ula Yemusheni Avi. Perhaps my father will touch me. Vayisi bein of kimitateya. And then he will regard me as an imposter. Vayvaisa lai klola. And it's going to bring a curse, v'lo bracha, and not a blessing. Verse 12, Rashi, Yemusheni comes from the word touching. K'may mimashes betzarayim, a person who feels around in the afternoon and when it's dark. Verse 13, so his mother continues and tells him, V'atomer le'imay, so his mother said to him, Olai kilalas chabini, let the curse be your curse be upon me, my bini, my son. Ach shma b'koili, but just heed my voice. V'leich kachli, and go and bring them to me. Verse 14, Vayelech, Vayikach, Vayavi li'imay, and he went and he got it and he brought them to his mother. Vatasim matamim, and she made for him delicacies, and his mother made the delicacies, kasher oiv aviv, like his father's liking. Verse 15, Vatikach Rivka's bigdei Esav bena hagadol, and Rivka took her older son Esav's clean clothes, hachamudos, the clean ones, the nice ones, asher ita babayis, that were with her in the home. Yaakov ben Akatan, and with those clothing she put them on her younger son Yaakov. Verse 15. What does it mean? Hachamudos? Rashi explains hanekiyos, the clean ones, like the Targum says doichasa. Davar acher, another explanation of what kind of clothes these were. Why does he call them chamudos? Those that are liking, those that they were jealous of. Shechomados and Nimrod, that Esav actually got them from Nimrod, stole them from Nimrod. Asher ita babayis, why does it say that it was with them in the home? Esav had so many wives. Why was it that he kept his clothing by his mother? Was his mother doing his laundry? Why was he keeping the clothes by his mother? He knew exactly who his wives were, that they were terrible people, that they were idolaters, and he knew that they weren't honest. And therefore he was concerned that they might go and steal them, and therefore he kept them by his mother, because he trusted his mother that she would protect them and keep them properly. And the place the kids going and she placed the kid goat skins, he'll be shal yadav, on his arms, and the smooth part of his neck. Verse 17. And she took then handed the delicacies and the bread that she made b'yad Yaakov bena, in the hands of her son Yaakov. And he came to his father. And he said, Avi, my father. And he replied, here I am. Mi ata bani, who are you, my son? Yaakov. And Yaakov responded, verse 19. Yaakov answers his father's question, and he says as follows: Anoichi Esav b'chayrecha, I am Esau, your older son, your firstborn. Asisi, I have done kasher dibarte, like you told me. Kumna, please arise. Ushava, be seated. Va'achlan, eat mitzedei, from my game. Va'avurta v'rachani nafshecha, so that you can bless me, so that you can give me your soul's blessings. Verse 19, Rashi, Anoichi Esav b'charecha. What was he saying here? Seemingly it sounds like that Yaakov was lying. So Yaakov was careful in the words, how he articulated it. And he said first, Anoichi, I am. Who am I? Yaakov, Hamevi lecha, who is bringing it to you? And it so happens to be, Esav b'charecha, but Esav is your firstborn. Asisi, what does it mean I did? Kama dvarim, kasher dibart aloi, I did a few things, like you spoken to me. Shiva, if you look at the words that Yaakov says, he says, get up and then sit down. What does this mean? So therefore, l'shein meisav ala shulchan, sitting means that sit down by the table to have the food. And that's what the Targum explains as tachar, meaning sitting around the table. Verse 20. Yitzchak said to his son, how was it? How did you find it so quickly, my son? And his son responded, because God, your God, arranged it that it happened this way before me. Verse 21. So Yitzchak said to Yaakov, come a little closer. Gishana, come close. So that I can touch you. Beni, my son, Esav, are you truly my son Esav, imloi, or not? Rashi, verse 21. Gishana v'amushcha. Over here, Yitzchak was concerned because the voice did not sound like the voice of Yaakov. It is like the voice of Esav, and therefore he wanted to come to he should tap him to see. Yitzchak said to himself, this is not usual for my son Esav to say that God made it happen before me. So therefore, Omar, because he said, That God made it happen. He said, 1 second, that doesn't sound like my son Esav. With this, Yitzchak pronounced, Yaakov approached Yitzchak, his father, and he touched him, and he said, Hakoil Kel Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but however, the hands are the hands of Esav. Rashi, verse 22, Koil Yaakov doesn't mean his actual voice, but means that he's speaking respectfully, in a nice way, asking, Kumna, please. Aval Esav, but Esav, Kintur Yodaber, used to speak in a very audacious way, in a very disrespectful way. Like you're going to see later on, when Esav comes in, he says, Yokomovi, Dad, get up. He speaks to him like in commands instead of requests, a nice way. Verse 23. Yitzchak was not able to recognize him because his hands were like the hands of Esav, Achiv, his brother, Se'iris, very hairy, and he blessed him. Verse 24. Then he tells them again, so are you really my son Esav? He said, I am. Verse 24, again, and you'll notice that Yaakov is very careful with his words. He doesn't say, I am Esav. Lo yomer ani Esav. He doesn't say, I am Esav. Elani, I am. I am whoever I am. Verse 25, and he said, Agishali, come close to me, serve me. So I can eat from the game of my son. So I can give my soul's blessing. And he brought it to him. And he ate. And he brought it. And he brought him wine. And he drank. Verse 27. Verse 26. And Yitzchak told him. And Yitzchak, his father, said to him, Gishana, please come closer. Ushakali beni, and kiss me, my son. Verse 27. Vayigash, and he came close to him. Vayishak loy, and he kissed him. Vayarach esreich begadav, and he smelled the fragrance of his clothing. Vayivarecheyu, and he blessed him. Vayomer, and he said, Re'ei reyach beni, see my son's fragrance. Kereyach sadeh is as the fragrance of the field asher beirachai Hashem, that God blessed. Rashi, what does it mean, the fragrance of the field that Hashem blessed? That God put in it a great blessing. This is a field of apples that have a very good smell, meaning that even though goatskin don't usually have a good smell, but in this case it had a very good smell, and he said this is like from an apple orchard, or like, according to some, the Garden of Eden, that have a very good smell. And this was the commentary that the sages tell us. We see over here how Yaakov wanted, that Rivka wanted Yaakov should get the blessings, and Yitzchak wanted that Esav should get the blessings. Many ask, why would Yitzchak want Esav to get the blessings? Didn't he know what kind of person he was? And as the Alter Rebbe explains in Torah as that Esav came from Tohu, chaos, a world of chaos, while Yaakov came from a world of order. Yitzchak wanted to already achieve the coming of Mashiach, or a greater blessing, and tap into the resources that Esav was come from a place of chaos, which is ultimately higher than Yaakov. As we see when Mashiach will come, that will depend, that even Esav will come to recognize the greatness of Hashem, where chaos and order will come together. May it be now. This concludes the 5th Torah reading for Thursday, Parashas Toldos.